and just go run the records, fingerprint you back at the station. That's all.
But I'm a U.S. citizen.
We have to establish that, and we have to be confident that that's true. If you have your ID, you can give it to us right here. We can check it out. You're good to go. We'll be on our merry way, but we have to establish your citizenship.
This is wrong.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you for your time, Mr. Indiana.
I have a question. Why are you guys not actually persecuting real criminals?
Good day, sir.
Welcome back, everybody. As many of you guys know, I'm a law enforcement trainer instructor. I train and instruct military and law enforcement all over the country on various law enforcement disciplines to include constitutional law, case law, patrol tactics, use of force, advanced criminal investigations, etc. And I mean, here we have a very interesting video here. Now, everybody is going to feel a certain way when we're talking about ICE or Border Patrol or any of these things because, you know, I get it. We're talking about, you know, somebody questioning the legality of you to even be in the country. And if you're a citizen, yeah, I can see how you would find that truly offensive. I mean, I can only speak for myself, right? I'm a military veteran, law enforcement officer now. I'm a patriot through and through. I'm a U.S. citizen through and through. I believe in our founding documents. I study our founding documents. You know, I have a law degree, for crying out loud. So, you know, everything I've done in my whole life has been public service to this nation and to my community. And so the idea that some random person, whether they have a badge or not, which I don't think a badge is special, because guess what? I have one too. You know what I mean? So the idea that somebody with a badge would come up to me and start to question, you know, the authenticity of my citizenship, I would find deeply offensive. Now, I have not been put in this situation. This hasn't happened to me, but I would say that it's something that I'm thinking about. And if it were to happen, I need to have a game plan. And I would encourage any of you guys to have a game plan too, because at the end of the day, the one big thing that I have going for me is not the fact that I have a law degree. It's not the fact that I am a state agent, law enforcement agent. It is not that I'm a state police trainer. It is not even that I'm a FLETC instructor, certified FLETC instructor. The big thing I have to my advantage is that I am, in fact, a United States citizen. And so for me, taking all this into account, the real question is, well, what would you do in that situation? You know, and that's a good question because, you know, I've thought long and hard, and I'm going to share with you what I would do. Now, again, I understand that what I would do is not what you guys should do or what you guys would do. And I completely understand that. And again, this is just what I would do. So if I had a bunch of armed Border Patrol ICE agents surround me demanding my identification, I am going to immediately break down into my detainment template. And so here you have that template in front of you, and you can see it there on your screen. Now, the reason why I would do this is because, again, the most important thing for me, again, I don't fear being deported because I'm a U.S. citizen. I have no fear of being deported. I'm not going to be deported. I also have no fear of taking the ride, right? I have no fear of whatever booking process they're going to take me to. The biggest thing that I need to be conscious about and I need to understand is I need to survive the encounter. I need to affirm my rights to the highest level and order I can. And I need to be able to hold law enforcement accountable, and I need to have transparency. And so the best way I can think about doing that is going to immediately to invoke my detainment protocol, my template. Again, it's there on the screen for you. And the reason why is because I have to understand there's a few things I have to understand here, okay? I have to understand that these agencies are using very heavy-handed tactics. And what I don't like about this video, if I'm being 100% honest with you, is there seems to be no real checks and balances. What do I mean by that? So they asked this gentleman for his identification. And as you guys know, and you guys can see on your screen, in order to, the Supreme Court has affirmed that in order for law enforcement to demand your ID, in order for them to detain you and compel your identification, they need to have what's called reasonable articulable suspicion of a crime or criminality at foot. And that's Brown v. Texas, 1979. And the only way that they can arrest you, let's go to our next screenshot here, is if they have probable cause. So probable cause exists when at the moment of an arrest or warrant, law enforcement has articulable facts and observations that would lead a prudent, reasonable person to believe that a crime was in the process of being committed, had been committed, or was about to be committed. And more likely than not, and there's 9 SCOTUS, so 9 United States Supreme Court case precedences that affirm that that's what they need to have. And so when we look at this, when I look at this in totality, and I'm speaking for myself, looking at my detainment protocol here, the idea that you could just look at me and say, oh, because he's brown and has a beard, he is somehow not a U.S. citizen. He somehow did not honorably serve his country as a U.S. citizen. He somehow did not honorably and currently honoring serving as a state agent for his organization. There's no way that he's honorably serving as a state criminal investigator, as a state police trainer, and as a flight instructor as a U.S. citizen. It's more reasonable that he is not any of those things. It's not reasonable to believe that he is college educated with multiple degrees from the United States of America as a citizen. There's no way that he's a citizen. It's more likely than not that he's not. And so to take that to court with me I think that would be a real huge win for me. I do. And ultimately, I think that as we look at the case law that's going to be developed from these massive, overhauls and sweeps that they're doing, I expect there to be, a lot of lawsuits, and I expect case law to change on how they handle how they're handling their tactics. Because again, when I look at this video, it's very clear that from what I can see, they took his ID, they looked at it, but they didn't actually. I mean, if you're going to detain somebody, if you're going to compel them to ID, you might as well run them, right? You might as well run it through the full gambit. I mean, I can tell you as a police instructor, as somebody that does high-level investigations, if I compel your identification, yeah, I'm going to run it, right? I'm actually going to do checks. And again, I guess we may not see everything that happened behind the scenes, but it seemed very quickly that as soon as he handed him his ID, they looked at it real quick and they gave it back to him. They let him go. I mean, I don't know how you can verify somebody's citizenship that quickly. I just don't get it. Maybe some of you ICE or Border Patrol agents or smarter law enforcement than me can answer that in the comment section below, right? Unless there's some sleight of hand here that we just didn't notice here. I just don't know how you can check it that quick. And so, yeah, there you have it. So again, what am I going to do, right? Again, like I said, I'm not afraid to take the ride. I'm not afraid to affirm my rights, right? I know I'm not getting deported. So again, I'm going to ascertain, am I being detained? Yes, you're being detained. So I'm being detained pursuant to Brown v. Texas, 1979. I would then quickly tell them that I don't consent to any searches or seizures of my person or property pursuant to, in accordance with United States v. Jones, 2012. And then I would tell them, if you wish to violate my rights, I keep my wallet I keep my wallet with my identification and credentials wherever I keep it. My fanny pack, my left pocket, right pocket. And then I'm going to tell them, for your safety and my safety, I'm going to keep my hands interlaced on top of my head, and I will not impede you in the violation of my rights. I'm not going to impede you. I'm not going to fight you violating my rights. I'm going to leave my hands right up here for their safety and my safety, because again, I want to survive the encounter, right? I don't want to be put in a position where they are going to be able to justify using force against me. Not at all. I'm going to keep them here, and I'm going to go ahead and let them do whatever they're going to do, and then I'm going to affirm unambiguously my Fifth Amendment right pursuant to in accordance with Burgess v. Tompkins, 2010, and I'm going to stay quiet. And so they're going to have to do one of two things. They're going to have to search me for my credentials, where they're going to see, because by policy, again, I always carry a firearm with me, and per policy, I have a policy through the state that I have to follow as far as my firearm. So all my credentials are going to be on me. My firearm's going to be on me. State. So again, you know, my service weapon that I use in everyday duties is going to be on me. My credentials for the state are going to be on me, and then obviously my driver's license and everything else. So everything that they're going to need to run me and verify me, they're going to be able to obtain in that illegal search. So I have the illegal detainment, I have the illegal search, and then from there, again, let's say they decide they're not going to do that, and they're just going to arrest me and take me in regardless. Well, either way, they're going to be violating at least 2 constitutional rights. And again, I have no fear that by not interfering with them and by not fighting them, my life's going to be taken. I have no fear of that. I don't believe that I'm going to be put in a situation where I'm going to be beat up if I simply assert my rights and not fight them. I feel very confident in that. And I also, again, I'm a U.S. citizen, so I feel completely confident in the fact that I will not be deported. But I also feel confident that if they do violate my rights, if they do illegally search me, if they do illegally detain me, that I have a right for recourse. So again, everything that I've done perfectly aligns up and sets up with their loss of qualified immunity, which again you can see here on your screen. and you know, and I think that's important, because when we're looking at qualified immunity, we have to. A lot of people don't realize this, but qualified immunity is something that law enforcement has to apply for, right? Qualified immunity isn't just automatic. Just because I'm a law enforcement officer doesn't mean that I automatically have qualified immunity. It's not how it works. I have to, if there's suit brought up against me, I have to apply for it. And again, qualified immunity is only for individuals. It doesn't basically. In order to qualify for qualified immunity, you would have to violate a clearly established constitutional or statutory right. Well, like I said, with that detainment protocol, as you can see here, I have clearly set them up to where if you detain me, that's a clearly established constitutional right. I have a right to be not detained unless you have reasonable suspicion of a crime. And being brown in America is not reasonable suspicion to detain me. And then you can't just search my person. You can't just go into my pockets, take my wallet, search for my wallet, or search through my wallet to find my creds and identification without having the ability to do so, right? Without having, you would need, in order to search me, you would need probable cause, right? You can pat me down. You can do an exterior pat down, right? You could absolutely do exterior pat down. You can do a stop and frisk, but you couldn't search through my wallet without probable cause. So again, everything I'm doing is completely setting them up to either protect my constitutional rights or for them to violate my constitutional rights, in which then I would pursue civil remedies. But again, everybody's going to be different. Like I said before, I have biases, right? I'm a U.S. citizen, so I'm not afraid of being deported, right? I know my rights. I know the most important thing is to survive this encounter, and I can do so without fighting them. And I can do so with affirming my rights to the highest. So that's what I would do. That's how I'm looking at this. And again, I don't foresee this happening. But if this does happen, I want a protocol and procedure I can automatically go to without thinking about it. And that's why I created the detainment protocol templates you see there. Well, I hope this video was helpful. Tell me guys what you think in the comment section below. Is this something that is this something you thought about? Have you guys thought about what you would do as U.S. citizens if you're stopped by, ICE or Border Patrol? I'm curious to know what you would do in the comment section below. As always, guys, long live the Republic.